Hey folks, it's Amy from Colorado Mountain Living, and I wanted to start an interesting installment about wild medicinal plants of the area and how to prepare them for use. So I think it was about a week ago, I went to town at the local apothecary and they offered a class on wild medicinal plants of the area, and we went over the top 10 plants that were very common that also had medicinal use. And so it kind of got me thinking, what is growing on our property and in our very, very local area. So I went on a plant walk, and it's probably not the best time of year to do a plant walk because a lot of things are kind of dying off and drying up, but I was able to find several things. So I'll give you a quick overview of what I found the last couple of days just looking around the area. So first, today I just want to go over what I gathered in the area and also different ways to prepare them, and we'll go over that as well and what their uses are in here. And take a look at what I was able to pick out. So there's big piles of greens, some berry-looking things, and this rooty-looking thing. So I'll start over here. A lot of this is mixed together. So these leaves, I don't know if you can tell. You might be able to recognize what it is. Ribby, hairy, some might say thorny, white underside. This is raspberry leaf. And we actually have a bush right in the corner of our driveway. And the raspberry leaf is a really good for, it's a good uterine tonic. So it can be really good for females and balancing hormones and things like that. So a lot of times you see this used as a dried leaf, and you find it in teas. So today I'm going to take all of this and dry it naturally. And I can crumble it, I can do whatever after it's dried, but I'll store it in a mason jar, and I'll be able to add that to teas. You can make just a straight raspberry leaf tea, or you can mix it up with other blends. But anyway, so we'll be drying raspberry leaf. Another one that grows like a weed here is white sage. This is all mixed in the tall grass. It smells really, really fragrant. It's not the same as the variety as the culinary sage, just not like the bumpy, fuzzy leaves, but it smells the same and really good for fragrant bouquets, and people like to use it for incense. So I'm going to just use this dried. I'm not going to make any kind of other medicine out of it, just using this dried. Good. This one is called wild lettuce. This is what the leaf looks like. Wild lettuce grows like a weed in this area. I just found this on the side of the driveway. And it's actually a natural source of opiate compounds. Obviously not strong, but like a mild analgesic. If you break it, then you get a white sap that comes out, and that can kind of numb you. And so people make tinctures out of that. It can be used topically for pain use. And anyway, it'd be interesting to find more of this stuff. It's the white sap that does the action, kind of like the poppy flower. These grow all over the place. These are rose hips. I picked these off all the scrubby little rose shrubs. This is the time of year to get rose hips because the fall is the time when they form, and it's when everything's drying up. So these are super duper rich in vitamin C. This would be great. I'm going to be drying these as well, but I'm going to be cutting them open because the inside of the hip is where all the hairy seeds are, and this isn't the fun part to put in your tea. So I'm going to have to scoop these out. But the rest of it actually is very bitter, kind of tastes like an orange peel. But vitamin C is super duper high for vitamin C. These are red clover tops. These are known for cleansing the blood and purifying the blood. I wasn't able to find a lot of these because we're kind of out of season. So this is probably enough for 1 cup of tea. This would be something else I would dry as well. These fuzzy leaves are yarrow leaves. They have white flowery tops, and they're still going. They grow like a weed up here as well. I'm going to take these, chop them up, and make a tincture. I'll do that in another video. but has a lot of medicinal use for stopping bleeding. If you put it topically on a wound, it can kind of stop the blood. I don't know if it coagulates it or just restricts the blood flow, but has a lot of use for stopping bleeding. It's also like antiseptic, antiviral. A lot of this stuff is, sage especially. So yarrow is another medicinal one. And here's a root that grows in the area, and this is actually pretty rare. Actually is known as an endangered root, so you don't want to overharvest. In fact, if you're picking more than 1 plant per 10 plants out there, you're overharvesting. It grows around 10,000 feet. It's known to grow in the mountains, in the aspen groves, and we actually are very fortunate to have a few aspen groves on our property, and this is growing everywhere here. So this is Osha root, also known as lovage. The plant looks very similar to poison hemlock, so you definitely have to be familiar with the characteristics of this plant. If poison hemlock kind of has a musty smell, and the Osha plant has a parsley, very strong celery, parsley, licorice smell. So if you break the leaves or you scratch the root, this is actually smelling up the whole house right now. It smells like parsley licorice. It's very strong. It's known as a very strong lung cleanser, so good for if you're having lung sickness in your lungs, breathing problems. Indians used to use this for establishing endurance. Bears used to eat this for energy. It's a very strong, potent root. Very good for the immune system, and very strong antibiotic, septic, antiviral type of medicine as well. And it's also known as lovage because, I think it got its name because it can increase oxytocin, which is sort of like the snuggling, cuddling hormone where you feel really lovey-dovey, I suppose. So anyway, so I guess that's why it's popular, but doesn't look like a whole lot of nothing right here. It just looks like a yucky root, but it actually smells really great, and it kind of smells like it's cleaning the air. Native Americans, Indians used to hang this by newborn babies to purify the air that they were breathing. But kind of interesting folk medicine here, folks. This is stuff that grows very readily and wild in the Colorado mountains in our area. And this is just the small, limited amount of things that are growing this time of year. And I've got one more here for you, folks. This one is another root. This one is called Oregon grape root. An Oregon grape root is definitely more local to the Northwest or the western part of the United States. And the root, interestingly, you can see it's a little bit yellow in color. It's almost can be used interchangeably for the herb golden seal. So it has very, very, very strong antibiotic, antiviral, antiseptic properties, and it's just the root part that's used. You know, it grows all over the backside of the woods up here in the hills. Very medicinal. Just thought it'd be fun to kind of give you a little overview of some of the medicinal plants of the Rocky Mountains, particularly the ones that we found on our property. So I was definitely thrilled to be applying what I learned in class and be able to identify and use some of these special plants. So some of them you might be able to find in your area, and then there's some that are probably only local to us, like the Osha root. So fun stuff, guys, and hopefully you learned something and maybe you'll be able to try something new. If you found the information helpful, give us a thumbs up or leave a comment if you have any questions. I can't say I'm an expert. I'm not an herbalist. I'm not trained as one, but I can just tell you what I learned from my class and share a little bit of information with you. So hopefully that was informative. So I do a lot more videos on homesteading up in the Rocky Mountain areas. If you'd like to learn more about life up here in the Colorado Mountains, subscribe if you want to learn some more tricks to growing vegetables, keeping bees, landscaping, permaculture. I plan to do a lot more videos on that as well. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.